The country of Israel has been a topic of conversation in politics since the year they reformed in 1948. Several events brought this country into the limelight, and one of these events was the Six-Day War, taking place from June 5th to June 10th of 1967. This war was both notable and influential, and it would eventually reshape the future of the Middle East. In the months and the years leading up to the Six-Day War, it was obvious that tensions were already rising between the countries surrounding the small country of Israel. In the year of 1960, according to the Jewish Virtual Library, Egypt and Israel were attempting peace treaties. However, President Nasser, who is pictured here, chose to reply with a simple statement: they would never recognize the Jewish state. Years later, in 1965, the Palestinian Liberation Organization conducted 35 raids on the country of Israel, and often these raids targeted civilians. Tensions were ramping up. As the year approached 1967, according to the editors of the Encyclopedia Britannica, guerrilla groups were coming out of 3 out of the 4 countries: Syria, Jordan, and Lebanon. They were increasingly attacking the borders of Israel. Finally, on May 14th of 1967, Egypt mobilized their forces in the Sinai Peninsula, declaring to the world that they were ready to march. Throughout this short war, the rest of the world began to take notice of the tiny country of Israel, who also controlled the situation. On June 5th, it was day 1, and Israel officially launched attacks on the surrounding countries. Here is pictured a map of some of the attacks that were launched and how they took place through the country of Israel. On day 2, according to the Jewish Virtual Library, the battalions of Israel attacked Ammunition Hill in the northern area of Israel. It was day 3 that the UN took notice and asked for a ceasefire, and on day 4, Israel recognized this ceasefire. However, Syria continued to bomb the northern areas. Day 5, Israel launched an assault on the Golan Heights, according to the editors of the Encyclopedia of Britannica. This was a bloody battle. However, by the end of the day, it was day 6, and Israel had conquered enough territory to more than triple their original borders. As things began to settle down, treaties could be negotiated in order to give back land in exchange for peace. The victory opened up the opportunity to exchange the land for peace because of all the areas that Israel had conquered through the simple Six-Day War. According to Cameron Brown, who is a deputy director of the Global Research in International Affairs, just a little over a week, Israel made the first move by stating they'd be willing to hand back the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt and the Golan Heights to Syria, as long as peace treaties were signed. This is a photo of several of the leaders a week after the war who got together in order to sign peace treaties. 10 years later, according to Cameron Brown, in November of 1977, Sadat of Egypt, who was a well-known leader at the time, he took the initial step to fly to Israel. He appeared before the Israeli Knesset in order to ask for peace between the 2 countries. This was a long-sought peace, as Egypt was one of the first countries to mobilize and conduct raids in the Six-Day War. It was years later, in 2000, Israel offered to withdraw from all of the Gaza Strip and 90% of the West Bank. This exchange was supposed to be with the Palestinians. However, Palestinians still chose to reject the exchange due to the fact that if they accepted, they would be recognizing the state of Israel. In conclusion, the Six-Day War was short-lived. It was an enormously effective war. Israel responded to its neighbors as a result of pressure from the outside. They took a large amount of land, including the Sinai Peninsula, the Gaza Strip, and the Golan Heights. When the war came to the quick end, Israel chose to use the land that it had gained to try to exchange it for peace in order to settle the conflicts in the Middle East. To this day, it's clear that this particular war had an enormous effect on the Middle East. However, sadly, conflicts continue to arise within the region.